Okay, so picture this. It's 1999. The whole world is on the edge of its seat, waiting for the new millennium. You've got all this anxiety about the Y2K bug, but also this incredible excitement for what's next. And for one guy, a pioneer in online education, it was about to be a year of facing all sorts of borders. Bureaucratic, geographic, and yeah, some deeply personal ones too.
Well, the answer's kind of fascinating. It lies in two journeys of creation that were happening at the exact same time. One was this massive effort to build a totally new kind of classroom without borders, and the other, well, it was the journey to build a new family. So today we're going to unpack the story of this one single, absolutely transformative year. Let's get into it.
So, to really get what was going on, you have to remember what 1999 was like. This wasn't just any old year. Man, it felt like a real turning point for everyone.
I mean, think about it. The world was in this huge state of flux. You've got a brand new currency, the euro, suddenly appearing. The old lines from the Cold War are being redrawn as NATO expands. A new leader is coming into power in Russia. And hanging over all of it was this massive digital question mark. Was everything just going to crash when the clock ticked over to 2000? It was a time of huge uncertainty, but also profound change.
So while all that big global stuff is happening, there's this other, maybe quieter project getting started. It was this really ambitious dream of creating an education system that could just leap over national borders, using the power of this new thing called the internet. The idea, which was being pushed by this pioneer Morten Paulsen, was actually pretty simple, but for the time, totally revolutionary. He wanted to build a collaborative online university that would link up Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. Just imagine a student in Oslo logging on, probably with a screechy dial-up modem, to take a class from a professor in Copenhagen. It was a seriously audacious goal back then.
Yeah, great idea, right? But the reality? Man, it was a mess. The walls they were hitting weren't digital. This wasn't just about slow internet. No, this was about people. Each country wanted to use its own language. They all had different ways of teaching, and their degrees didn't even match up. It was supposed to be seamless, but it turned into a bureaucratic nightmare.
And this quote from Morten himself just nails it. Even when they tried mixing online classes with in-person stuff, what we'd now just call blended learning, the money side of it just fell apart. The dream of this borderless digital classroom kept slamming into these very real and very frustrating human-made borders.
Okay, so let's leave all that frustrating red tape behind for a minute and go on a real journey. Like a journey to the absolute edge of the world, where the stakes suddenly felt a whole lot higher.
So Morten gets this invitation to speak about distance education, way up in Longyearbyen. This is literally the world's northernmost town. It's a place so wild that the main danger isn't crime or anything like that. It's polar bears. Seriously, you literally have to carry a rifle if you leave the town limits.
And this is where it gets kind of wild. He shows up at the university to give his talk, and he sees students checking their rifles at the door like you check a coat. And he's thinking, wow, okay, I better not give a boring talk. Talk about pressure, right?
But right there, in this super remote spot, something else happened that was all about connection. Another person at the conference pulls out this gadget that looked like it was straight out of science fiction in 1999, an Iridium satellite phone. And from the top of the world, he just calls his mom.
You have to understand, this wasn't just another phone. This was brand spanking new technology, a whole network of satellites covering the entire planet, promising that you could connect from literally anywhere. It was basically the physical proof of the very idea Morten was fighting for in education, that human drive to connect no matter the distance. And then the phone rings. But it's not a satellite phone, just a regular one in the hotel. And that one call changes absolutely everything. It's his wife. After almost 5 long years of waiting, the news they'd been dreaming about had finally arrived. They had a son waiting for them in Brazil.
And just like that, everything changes. The mission isn't about building a virtual university anymore. It's about building a family. The abstract challenge of crossing digital borders was suddenly replaced by a very real, very long journey across the globe.
And this was no simple trip, believe me. This was an absolute epic. A long-haul flight, then an overnight bus ride deep into a part of Brazil they'd never even heard of. They checked into a small hotel that would be their home base for the next 6 weeks, all leading up to this one single moment they had been waiting 5 years for.
So when they finally get to the children's home, this little boy, Marciano, who only knew them from photos, comes running up to his new big brother. And there he is, just wearing shorts and slippers, but he's already got his little blue backpack packed and ready to go.
The wait was finally over.
And get this, the timing is just unbelievable. The very next day after they met was Marciano's 6th birthday. It wasn't just the start of a new age for him, it was the start of a whole new life. A new family, a new country, a new language, everything.
So for his birthday, they brought the biggest cake they could find at the children's home. And the scene, well, the quote here says it all. It was just this storm of emotions. So much joy for Marciano, but at the same time, this absolutely heartbreaking feeling of having to leave the other kids behind. It was one of those moments that was both beautiful and painful all at once.
So those 6 weeks in Brazil were just this incredible, chaotic, beautiful whirlwind of becoming a family. Marciano learned to swim just by watching his older brother and jumping right in the pool. They had some crazy adventures, like finding a giant caiman blocking the road, and some classic family mishaps, like locking the keys in the car. They were just building their family, one wild and wonderful moment at a time.
All right, so as 1999 starts to wrap up, these two stories that seem so separate, building a university and building a family, they start coming together in this really amazing way.
So while Morten is figuring out how to be a dad, his work back in Norway is just taking off. All of a sudden, he's a go-to guy for online education, appearing on national TV and radio. But now, when he talked about it, it wasn't just theory anymore. He knew what it felt like to build a real, meaningful connection across a huge distance.
And this, right here, really lays it all out. It shows you the two tracks of that one single year. On one side, you have these huge professional wins, TV appearances, more students. And on the other, you have these incredibly powerful personal moments, a 6th birthday, a first swim, a son starting school in a new country. It was just a year of building, period. Building a new field and building a new family.
So what's the big takeaway here? 1999 was a story about breaking down barriers, whether they were made of technology or bureaucracy or just the distance between people. The dream of a university without borders and the journey to build a family, they were really about the same thing, our deep need to connect with each other. And it kind of makes you think, right? As we're all navigating our own complex world today, what new connections, the digital ones and the human ones, are the most important for us to be building right now?